very strong connection to nature. When I was a little girl, we moved from Canada to New Mexico, and we lived outside. We lived in a teepee on a reservation, and it was the most amazing, magical experience because I never wore shoes. I was outside playing by myself with trees, with wind, with the hills, the earth, and my fondest memories of being little and living and being part of nature was really being inside this tent, basically, because the teepee had a canvas wall, and when it would rain, you would smell the most beautiful smells of earth and wet canvas because there was no ground. It was just, ground was earth. It was raw, red earth. So there's this beautiful memory of being part of nature and nature being part of me, starting from a very young age. You know, my whole life has sort of been saved by the nurturing of finding a place in the creative process. And it's really helped me nurture my soul throughout my life and get me sort of out of deep, painful pools of struggle. So I realized many years ago that it's a gift to have this place to go that really nurtures your soul, and I wanted to share that with other people. For the past 20 years, I've located myself as a social sculptor in many, many different situations where people often are hurting, or there's a bit of soul struggle. And I've used art in the process of art making as a healing force and a healing tool. There were a lot of people talking about sort of the darkness and the morgue-like qualities in the hospital, especially in the cancer hospital. It had not been updated, and it was a very dark, depressing space for people who were coming in with a lot of pain and a lot of anxiety and a lot of, sickness. So there were years and years of kind of coming into different situations that inspired Barnacle Tides and inspired this idea of creating a permanent installation that is a healing spot, a healing wellness wall that would help so many people. There's thousands of people that go through that particular space every day. It's kind of fantastic how you can put such a simple piece of earth and a very simple tool in front of somebody who's sort of completely buckled up and shut down and protected and doesn't want to really connect or open up. And with a little encouragement and with this little piece of earth and a conversation, how all of a sudden this is like a flower just blooming. Trust me.
I feel like
This one's also very light, but you can see it's a hummingbird. I don't know if you can see it through this light.
Cool.
And it's got a lot of little patterns. So remember, this is your canvas. You've got this whole piece of clay. You can texture and work up the whole thing, because the more texture you put on it, the more light plays in the glass. This was a little girl. This is a beautiful story. She's a hen. So her mom is going through cancer, and she's getting treatment at the center down there. So she went to an elephant orphanage in Sri Lanka, and she saw there that the baby elephant's mom was really sick. And so the other elephants came to take care of the baby elephant, and it really, really stuck with her. And then when her mom got diagnosed with cancer, she really related to that baby elephant. And so now the whole family are doing elephants. It's really beautiful. But they're just really touching. The stories behind each one are so beautiful. Often when people get sick, they pull back and feel that they need to just incubate and take care of oneself. But really what we need is to reach out and have other people help us feel that we really are okay, and that you're not the only one going through this. That goes a long way. So I've worked with so many people who almost refused to be part of the project, but then as they kept coming to the cancer waiting area, and I was sitting there with other people, and they were opening up, and they kind of saw what was happening, with a little encouragement, they sat down, and they flourished. All of a sudden they did something they didn't realize they could do, and it was so natural, and it was extremely therapeutic to just play a little bit and tell your story. Whatever that story may be, everybody has a story, and they came out in all sorts of ways. And I just give a little slice. I make all different sizes. People get to choose if they want a little piece, a little big piece, whatever size they want. And I usually work the clay a bit, and then send it through my slab roller. Barnacle Tides was a really interesting process because the clay, the earth slabs were given, and the community in the hospital would create on these slabs of clay. And then they would surrender their piece, which was very sacred to them because many, many people spent hours and hours carving detail and marking these pieces in very symbolic ways. So when people let go of their piece, they knew that they were going to see their piece again in a different light, and quite literally with light. So it's taking something that's kind of non-permanent and making it permanent. And making it permanent by honoring it through this beautiful glass, a very moody blue, a very beautiful, calming blue, and then all of a sudden putting a light behind it. And they haven't seen this until it's up on the wall, and all of a sudden their carving has become illuminated and sculpted with light and turned into blue glass. So it was magical and kind of amazing for people who were part of the process. I did end up giving back their ceramic. They had the option to keep them, but their piece was really for the process. And then the final work really was a permanent mark of their moment in time where they touched this wall when it was in its making. That each person has done on the piece, their style, their technique, their pressure, whether they're just doing surface drawing. These community projects certainly honor the community in all aspects. I mean, yes, the people who come through this hospital site who are sick, how often are they recognized for anything other than being sick? They're just labeled along with a number, and they're called out to go through their process. But by creating this beautiful space, or this thoughtful space, honors the space and the process of people coming through and their time that they sit and wait and be in that space. It is for them. It's for the people who made the art. It is for the community who comes through the space. It is their artwork as well. Let's see there. But this was a family, and he lost his dog, and so he did his dog toy and imprinted it right into the clay there. Some people express emotion, peace, fluidity. There's a lot that have to do with nature, simple rhythms and forms of the ocean and the waves, leaves of trees, daffodils, being grounded, rooting, the strength of the tree and change. Blue Nose, he's conquered cancer, and what's given him strength is the beauty of the ocean, being by it, and the beauty of the boats and travel. This one's really cool. Meaningful. This is the place where his daughter's ashes will be put in. It's their cabin where they spent a lot of time, and her favorite place to be. So as you can see, they're all very different with a lot of meaning. So these are all purple because it's got a wash on it, and when it gets cooked in the kiln, this wash will turn white and help separate the glass to the clay. So I just match them up, and then I'm going to fire them again. When you open up a community work and a community project, you have to be willing to be present with any and all that is told. So it's unpredictable. You ask questions and you work very intimately with people, with their lives and with what they want to share. Sometimes I get stories and emotional weight that I'm okay to deal with while I hear it, while I'm there, because it's very focused and we're creating. So it seems like we're turning this pain and struggle into something light and something kind of beautiful. So it's a very large process in letting go and trying not to own other people's pain, because it doesn't help them. That was a challenge, especially in this project, Barnacle Tides, because I was working with a lot of people who were in transition and who were dying. And to know that they are dying, and for them to know that I'm okay with that I'm listening to them tell their story, and it's okay and it's safe for them to tell their story about dying in this moment, because a lot of people don't want to talk about dying. A lot of people in the public don't want to hear it. It makes people uncomfortable. So to offer a safe place for people to tell their story and to talk about their dying was a relief for some people. And I had to learn how to understand their process in letting go, and that these people who are in this transition were actually living more chameleon to survive these intimacies. But then when you see where it's going and you keep focused and you see that it's part of a big story, that affects, the social realm, I think that was my pillar to keep my ground through some of that really, really deep pain that was shared.
For that process, the day that we discovered Miro was a day that Mom had found out she couldn't get her chemo because her white count was too low.
I was vulnerable, and that's probably why I shut down. I didn't even realize I'd shut down. But we went in and they were working away, and Miro was starting to chat a little bit, and I just didn't want to take part. I wished I could go over in the table over in the corner in there and just let them talk. But I didn't want to be rude. I didn't even realize it until after it was over. I was taking part. I was talking. She had drawn me out. I was thinking like I just got into the sandbox from playing and I was happy. I said, I feel so lighthearted. I said, she's really good. She drew me out. Wow. Ever since then, I've never had a worry whenever my cancer, white count is down. I've just gone ahead and rolled with the flow. Doesn't mean I had all good days, no. But this was a profound moment in early on because it was only my second treatment. Thank you, Miro. I love you so much. Wow.
This building is a building of healing and hope. Also knows a lot about sadness and pain, but also joy and celebration. And I don't think there is no room for falsehood in this building. I think any love that is expressed within these walls is true and strong and very courageous. And I wrote this song to try to reflect a little bit about what this building is, and hopefully to reflect a little bit about what this project is about. This is called If These Walls Could Talk.
If these walls could talk, they'd tell 1,000 stories. Everyone would bend your ear and maybe change your mind. If these walls could talk, they'd tell you tales of courage, and maybe might change the way you think of time. If these walls could talk, they'd sound just like this young girl sitting at her father's bed, singing quietly. If these walls could talk, they'd pray in many voices, begging for some mercy from the same God differently. 'Cause this is where we learn our lesson, this is where we fall and fight to get back on our feet and love hardest of all. This is where we find out who our family truly is. And this is where one story ends and a new one begins. If these walls could talk, they'd tell you about beauty, about a single drop of time where love is pure and clear. If these walls could talk, they'd tell you about brothers, sisters and their mothers, and the bonds they grew in here. 'Cause this is where we learn our lesson, this is where we fall and fight to get back on our feet and love hardest of all. Yeah, this is where we find out who our family truly is. And this is where one story ends and a new one begins. They tell you tales of courage about a single drop of time where love is pure and